Welcome everybody, welcome traders. Hope everybody's doing well today. Let me know who we've got in today. Hopefully my internet holds up well for you. It's been a little bit dodgy today, so hopefully it doesn't we get an uninterrupted session. But welcome. Let me know what you guys are up to. We're going to be taking a look at the US dollar. Obviously, we've got some big data coming up this week. We've got CPI data in the US, which is going to be really, really important. And looking to see if this inflation data is going to support any kind of dollar bullishness or weakness in the market. We're getting a little bit of downside at the moment for the past couple of days, which could potentially be a little bit of a sell the sort of rumor buy the news situation going on at the moment. We might be seeing a little bit of downside into that announcement. So whether they think that inflation is going to come in a little bit hotter, you know, we've seen the labor market coming a little bit hotter. NFP numbers 303k on Friday. If we go take a look at what we had on Friday, so we'll just go back a little bit here, apply that. Here we go, Friday. Yeah, so here we go. Non-farm payrolls 303k over the 270k, which was actually revised down from 275,000. So interesting numbers there. And with a labour market that is fairly strong and fairly robust at the moment, we're not really seeing that reflected in inflationary pressures yet. And I think that's what the Fed are kind of looking towards. Are we going to now start to see this strong growth that we've had in the labor market? Is that then going to feed over into inflation, into consumer spending, things like that? So this is something that's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Do we actually get a little bit of an increase in those inflation reports? So we'll just go back to today. So on the slate today, we've not really got a huge amount in terms of high impact data. We had a little bit of data out of the UK this morning. We had an FOMC member speaking as well. But like I said, tomorrow is the big day. Tomorrow is where we all start to kick off with this data. We've got the US core CPI, which is going to be very, very important, especially if you are a trader in any kind of dollar positions right now. So I would really like to see how this number comes out, because does that affect how the Fed move forward in terms of cutting interest rates? I mean, some hedge funds are actually kind of backing more of a potential that the Fed aren't going to cut rates this year, which would be, I'd say, a fairly big shock to the market if we don't see any cuts. And how is that going to impact the market? Obviously, we're seeing oil prices rising as well, which is going to affect the supply side. What we've really been seeing in terms of inflation in the US is the service side has been fairly sticky. Now that we're seeing oil prices rise, is that going to affect the supply side? And is that going to be something where it reignites that fuel of inflation? So it's a big topic at the moment, big talking point. Obviously, it's going to affect the markets. So we need to be vigilant on these type of announcements going into tomorrow. We've also got the RBNZ decision as well. Let's see who we've got in then. So if you are in and you want to type a message in the chat box, say hello. Ask me any questions. We've got Asanya Gaming here. Can you please look at pound US dollar? It's rallying up today. To which could it go? I'll take a look at cable for you. Absolutely. And Vincent, good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well too, Vincent. Yeah, let me know what you guys are up to today. Let's go take a look at it then. So I think if we're looking at any kind of dollar-based trades at the moment, we've really got to consider what's going on the US dollar index. So what I've got here on my charts is I've got the daily time frame up here in the left-hand corner. I have the 4-hour time frame down here in the bottom left, and this is just a 15-minute time frame, so we can kind of see the sort of trend of the day of what we've had so far. So obviously we've come into the US session now, and the market's been trending down pretty much all day. You can see we've been sort of consolidating in the Asia session. We breached that Asia session low through London, and we came and retested that recently. Price then continued to push to the downside, but now we're in a really interesting area. So we're at the 104 handle, essentially just sitting below 104 at the moment, which was these kind of former daily lows here that formed from the lows on the 4th of April. You can see it a little bit more clearly here on the 4-hour time frame, these previous 4-hour lows. Now, I like to use 4-hour lows and highs as areas of support and resistance. So to me, I would always ask myself the question, if I was short this market, where would I like to offload some of those shorts? And I would like to offload some of those shorts here. Okay, the reason being is because obviously there's been some buying in the past, so I'm interested in getting some off the table here. Does that mean that price is going to reverse here? No. Okay, it means that I'll just be thinking in my head that this could be an area where we see a little bit of buying coming back into the market. Now, for me to kind of change my opinion on are buyers really coming back into here, I'd need to see more evidence on our lower time frames. So I'd need to see price kind of come back up, pull back, and then kind of break this sort of downward cycle that we've got going on here at the moment. And that would then convince me that maybe we're going to start to see a little bit more dollar bullishness back into the market. But this is a scenario that could happen. We could see a rally early into the US session, a little bit of a pullback, and then a reversal of what the day has formed. If not, what I would expect to happen essentially is for price to maybe come and retest these lows, hang around, maybe try and come back down towards the 104s. But essentially, a breach of this area here and a couple of closes below on the H4 time frame, I think would initiate a little bit more selling on dollar, with the next kind of support level being around the 103.25. But we're at an important level right now. Let's see how price reacts here, and that goes for the same with any kind of dollar pairs that you're following at the moment. Afternoon fan as well, welcome. So let's go take a look at those dollar pairs. So that's euro here. Let's take a look at cable. So cable, very, very interesting market at the moment. If we take a look here at the daily time frame, we can see that price obviously coming into a very, very key area of support. This was support that was found back in February of last February this year, sorry. We found support there on the 2nd of April, and the market rallied, came and retested the 126.67. This was a really important area, and I felt that if we stayed below this area, we could possibly see a little bit of a decline. A breach above it obviously could initiate a little bit more buying in the market. So really speaking at the moment, I'm more on kind of sitting on the fence here, and the only reason for that is because I need to see two clear defined closes above this zone. You can argue that you've got this kind of head and shoulders pattern as well that's been created in the market, and we've kind of breached those highs of that level. So what you would argue is that you've got this kind of sort of ascending neckline of the pattern, which goes something like this. Right now we're kind of, let me just zoom into that a little bit more. Right now you've got this kind of rejection here, or well, at least a breakout of here right now, and you want to see another sort of rally. I'd like to see another rally here. That would kind of confirm a little bit more that the market could continue to kind of go back to the upside here. But definitely look at the trend here today. You know, the market is making higher highs, higher lows. It's very clear that that is happening. You know, you've got this kind of, again, consolidation in the Asia session where the market consolidated between sort of 126.61 and then you've got this kind of 126.50. So we had a very shallow Asia range. Those often can lead to sort of big trending days in the market. Big breakout there. So I'll just be watching this now, because technically you're in an upward trend here. If you were a day trader, you know, you don't really want to be going against this until something changes. So what I would typically look for is kind of highs and lows. So I've got this kind of low here on the 15-minute time frame, 126.77 to 126.80. If price was to come back down towards that low there, then you would argue that there could be a potential for price to continue that upward trend. Okay, you've got the 50 moving average running through here as well. So by the time, let's say we did get some kind of retracement here, some kind of pullback, you know, the 50 moving average might be through that area as well. That could add a little bit of confluence to a potential long idea on cable. My mindset would change if we kind of pulled right back. So if we breach this kind of low here, or let's say price, let's say we get a little bit of a sort of return back to these previous highs, and then the market kind of changes trend on a 15-minute time frame, then I'd start to think that maybe this move that we've just seen might be a little bit overdone now, and we might see a little bit of pullback there. In terms of fundamentals for cable, we do have some interesting data coming up towards the end of this week. So just pop it onto this week and go down. You can see here we've got the some BOE data as well, and we do have a Bank of England speech coming up. It's not listed here, but we do have a Bank of England speech coming up as well. So as well as some manufacturing production and whatnot. So we've got a lot of data coming up. So I'd be looking at potential for the market to just try and stay within this trend for now. The one thing that I would say though is, you know, if you are going to trade any kind of US dollar pairs, you need to be looking at what your US dollar index is doing. And like I said, we're at support at the moment. You put yourself in you know, a buying and selling and value idea. You know, if you want to sell this, where's your risk going to be? So if I wanted to sell this here, let's just theoretically sell that there. Where's the safest place to put my stop loss? Okay. The safest place to put my stop loss will be above this high, or even this spike high up here. Now, if I was going to go target that next zone down there, look at your risk reward ratio. It's not good. It's really not good at all. So essentially you want price to pull back to give you a better risk reward ratio. So for me, the best place to get involved with any kind of dollar on the short side, at least, is back up at key swing highs where your risk reward ratio is boosted. Okay, you don't want to be taking short positions in here. You may be looking at this thinking, I've got to get short, you know, because that market has moved aggressively to the downside. What if I miss out? Okay, that's the theory in your head right now. You know, you've thought that the market has moved away, I've missed that lower high there, and then the market's going to go and I've missed that. So you might be trying to sell here. That's not a good idea. That is really not a good idea. Price may follow through, but you want to make sure that you're looking at previous highs, okay, because they offer you the best risk reward ratios. I'm at a buy at pound US dollar 126.77. Should I hold it? That is completely up to you. I can't tell you what to do with your sort of position. It's completely up to you. You know, why have you taken that trade in the first place? Where is your target? You know, is your target up here? You know, I did a video yesterday on where you should take profits when you're trading the markets, and always look at taking some off the table at the first point of resistance. Okay, so if I'm looking at this, so you've got long here. Obviously, I don't know your strategy, you know, but if I'd got long here on a lower time frame, essentially, I'll be looking at where's my first point of resistance. Okay, now the first point of resistance I would say is here. Okay, that previous high. The only reason I say that, I haven't looked at any data looking left yet, obviously, but the only reason I say that is because you can see that right now. Okay, you can see that the market has been sold off in and around this area. So that is my first target point. So at this point, personally, if this was me, I would have taken some profits off the table, and my stop loss would be at break even now, because then you've got a risk-free trade and you've banked some profits. If the market continues to move higher, so ideally what the situation you want is, if price moves higher, comes back a little bit, trades higher again, my stop loss would move from the break-even point to under the next swing low. Okay, if it continues to rally again, brilliant. I'd just be thinking, okay, can I move my stop loss up to the next swing low? Okay. And then if you get stopped out and you get taken out, or you might come to a higher time frame level of resistance at that point, you might think, well, my overall target is this swing high up here. The market may just continue to make higher highs and higher lows until it gets to that point. Okay. So that's the way I would view it. I would always say to myself, where's the first point of resistance? I want to get some money off the table at my first point of resistance. I assume you're day trading, considering that your entry is 126.77. So I'm going to assume that you're day trading here. And that's what I would always say. If you are day trading, take some profits off at the first point of resistance, because you would rather it be in your trading account than open in the market. You know, there's a great analogy that a former mentor taught me. And it was, imagine the market is a tiger and you're left in a room with that tiger. You know, how long do you really want to be in that room for? You don't want to be in it for very long, right? So if you're day trading, that's the philosophy you've got to think about. Don't give back too much of your profit, you know, for the sake of it, just because your ego is, and greed is, that you want it to go higher. Okay. Best thing I've found is take profits at your first area of resistance, move your stops to break even. If it goes, then you'll benefit from that. It'll be a bonus at that point, and you can try and capitalize on it in that way. Hopefully that makes sense. Earthman only traded metals for the time being, traded silver last week and palladium today. Beautiful head and shoulders on palladium daily, and big close yesterday. Yeah, we were actually looking at palladium before, weren't we? I have been keeping a little eye on it. I must admit I'm not involved with it. I'm waiting for this one to break. So this is the sort of weekly. Let's have a look at the weekly chart here. This is the weekly chart. And I've been looking at this trend line resistance running through, and I'm looking to see maybe we could get a little bit of a breach to the upside here on palladium. I actually think this is going to be a pretty good year for metals. Copper as well, I think it's going to do pretty well. Palladium, I think, will probably do pretty well as well. Gold, silver, silver definitely. We were talking about silver longs from $22, and that's still going. You know, my full sort of, I didn't get involved back in another long position, but after price hit 25.50, I was out of silver, and it pulled back, and then it's continued to sort of rally to the next area, which is all the way up here. Back in 2021, we had that high that formed in May. So, you know, where is silver going to go essentially? I think there's a good chance that we could be seeing a little bit of a move higher for silver. You know, you've got all these highs up here that could be potential targets as well, if we do obviously surpass where we're at the moment. Silver's a nice one. I'll probably wait for a little bit of a pullback now to see if we can kind of get anything. Maybe a little bit of a daily sort of pullback here. You know, wouldn't mind seeing a retracement down towards the $27, $26.80 sort of level. That would be sort of my idea. But yeah, I like the idea of being long palladium. I think that's a good opportunity. Did I have copper on here? Not sure if I did. Palladium. No, I don't think I had copper on here. We might have looked at copper before though, but I think copper will probably have a pretty good year. I mean, oil's looking very good at the moment, isn't it? I've been long oil aggressively, aggressively long oil for a while. I think last week I had 10 longs on oil in total. I haven't actually bought it this week. I'm not involved with oil just yet. Waiting for a little bit more of a retracement phase. You know, you've got this kind of consolidation going on here. I did fancy longs down here at $85. Didn't get involved with it, and I feel like maybe that was a good opportunity to get involved with it. But I'm looking at the daily chart here, and I can see obviously we've got this kind of secondary phase going on right now. So I'd like to see maybe, let's see how sort of today finishes. If we close like this today, then maybe there's another potential to run up towards that sort of $88, $90 area on oil. Same with Brent as well. Brent crude could definitely continue to push to the upside as well. I like these both, but I think you've got to be sensible still. The market doesn't move in a straight line, does it? So we've got to wait for a little bit of a bearish retracement first. Kyle, thoughts on cable? Yeah. Sorry. Already gone over cable, but I'd be watching the dollar index at the moment. Okay, so US dollar index coming in at your 104's previous area of support. I'd just watch this price action here. I wouldn't want to jump in just yet. I'd want to wait to see if buyers start to come back in here. If we do see some buying coming back in, then I think we need to kind of wait to see how this develops. Obviously, cable's in an upward trend here at the moment. We're breaching some key levels to the upside. We were about to test 127, or we are testing 127, whole number there. If I was a day trader looking to be involved with cable, I'd be looking to try and see how price reacts down towards this 126.77 handle. That to me would be a good area. Sorry, I need to delete that. That's not where the 50 moving average is at the moment. But if it were to decline back towards this low, then I would see how price reacts there. That would be a good place to think about the next sort of move in cable. Same with euro, really. I was discussing this with my dad this morning. Been pretty bullish euro for the past couple of days. And that's all because of the higher time frame bias. The daily chart, although we had a rejection up at this sort of 108.75 handle on Thursday last week. Was it Thursday, Wednesday? Thursday's candle was a little bit of a sort of bullish pin candle. Then obviously the market continued to push up on Monday. So, this was a really kind of strong suggestion that the market was going to push higher. I always kind of enforce having a look at your higher time frames, especially your daily chart. If the daily's closed bullish and there's areas of support and resistance that are fairly close, that's a suggestion, to look at that market at least to see how it reacts in the day. And this is how we were kind of viewing the market this morning. And I always kind of talk about looking at your highs and lows areas where the market has done business. Okay, you can see that buyers have come back here in the past, sellers have come in at this point in particular, and as price came back down, what happened again? Buyers starting to get involved with the market. You can see that the price is failing to make new successful lows. A successful low to me is if price was to close below that low. Okay, so if we're to get a close below that low, then I don't think I would have been looking for the long idea going into today's session. But because we didn't get that close below this low, which was at sort of 1.0851s, that to me said that price could potentially move higher. Again, first point of resistance was only sort of 5 pips away. Second point was 8 pips. Third point was 14 pips away, which was this swing high on the 4-hour time frame. So I think the next point of resistance for euro is towards 1.0890. We've got ECB coming up this week as well. So this market, again, we can't. What does this show you? The market is kind of going a bit in one direction before all this big news is coming out. Wouldn't be surprised if we did see a little bit of a turnaround. It's just the sell the news by the sell the rumor by the news type of situation. So I'll be interested to see how all this data changes the complexities of the market this week. But looking at it from, day trading point of view, where would you want to be involved with the market? Do you want to get long here? No, because let's say you were long there and you want to target that 4-hour area. Where's a sensible place to put your stop loss? It's down here. Negative risk reward ratio, not anything to really go for. If I want to be long, I want to be long sort of down towards this level here, and I want to try and target the previous swing high. So it's got a lot of work. It's got a lot of work to try and come back to that right now. So I need it to make a new low. Essentially, if it comes back down here, rallies again, then that's a low that I can work with, that I can try and, you know, piggyback up towards that level of resistance there. So I'll be keeping an eye on that one as well. CG, afternoon, John. Joining late, no worries. Welcome. Hopefully that made sense, Carl, by the way. I kind of went on a little bit of a rant on pound and euro then, so hopefully that does make sense. Irfan, yeah, pull back on oil to 84 would be great. Absolutely. I think that's something to definitely mark up with some alerts. John, thoughts on gold? Let's go and take a look at gold. I actually like gold longs, obviously. A lot of central banks continuing to purchase gold at the moment, especially I know that India's central bank has purchased a lot as well of gold recently. And you can see this. Look at this daily chart. It's just continuing to sort of roll on. Now, it does get to a point where you start to think to yourself, you know, when is this going to end, essentially? And the problem we've got is you don't know when it's going to end. When the market is making new highs and it's sort of on a trajectory like this, you don't know when it's going to end. There used to be a saying that if your mate down the pub starts to talk to you about gold, then it's probably the time to get out of it. So you tell me, if any of your friends who are not sort of into the markets been talking about gold prices lately, then let me know. Because the market could be about to turn at that point. But look, you know, dollar index is moving down at the minute. Again, gold pegged to the dollar. If dollar continues to fall at the moment, I'd be looking at continuing to try and be long gold. Yeah, I was kind of looking at these kind of areas yesterday. I actually had an alert set down here because we had a nice little bit of consolidation. Market rallied out of that consolidation. So I like the idea of being long towards that area. And then we just kind of turned. So I think in these type of markets, you know, sometimes things like counter trend line breaks would be good to kind of look at, simply because it is in that sort of strong upward move. You can see here I've got a 50 and a 200 moving average, and you can see how price is kind of hugging those and then breaking above it and continuing to trade higher. Again, just kind of look at your sort of 4-hour time frame here. Not really got any divergences shown on anything yet. We're above that 50 MA. I like to be long towards lows. So for me, I'd be looking at sort of these areas down here. So 23, 28. If I just sink that into the layout there. In and around these low areas, because we can see in the past that buyers have got involved at that point. So again, can I try and see price kind of come back to where the original move started from? Do buyers get involved again? Can that give us kind of an opportunity as well? Irfan, nice. I'm a strong believer when pundits and gurus start chanting about something going crazy. That's the best time to get out of the trade. Yeah, that's a good one actually. I should try and look around for that as well. I'm assuming you mean sort of the YouTube trading gurus and stuff. Bandits, love it. Yeah, I mean, like, look at this structure here as well. You've got this kind of aggressive push on the European Open or London Open today. Market's kind of just come and recovered that push. Consolidation is great. Consolidation is volume in the market. So buyers have obviously won that battle against sellers. We've come back into it. Buyers starting to get involved again here. You know, I think, again, just use common sense when you're trying to trade markets that are bullish like this. Don't hold onto your positions too long. Just average in. You know, if the market breaks this and you think that it's a good opportunity to get involved with the market, where's your target going to be? It's got to be that recently formed swing high, right? Because that's where sellers have got involved with the market. That would make the most sense to be out of it. You know, I always take 2 positions, okay? I take 2 positions, 0.5% risk. The reason to do that is because I want to bank some profit off the table, and then if it continues to move in my favor, then great. I just try and trail my stops up as much as I can. Do I get knocked out on trailing stops all the time? Just price get to my targets after taking out my trailing stops quite often. Okay. But you don't know what the market's going to do next. Okay. Even if you've got the data to be able to see buyers and sellers, you don't know necessarily how aggressive that momentum is going to last for. So I always think look at your areas to take profits. Always look at your first point of resistance. But gold, yeah, it's parabolic, isn't it? I mean, look at that move. And the thing is, because I think silver and palladium are going to do well as well. You know, I think gold's going to continue to do well. You know, a lot of the times we like to look at things like COT reports, don't we? So I haven't looked at the COT reports this week. So let's go and have a quick look to see if there's any kind of movement on this. Now we have to be, you know, pinch of salt with COT reports as well. COT reports are lagging behind. So we do have to sort of be aware of that. The one thing that we were looking for on COT reports before was the interaction with sort of buyers and sellers here, and the commercials and the non-commercials. So the red line is the commercials. They're in the market to do business. And you would have thought that as gold prices rise, that's going to be pretty good for business, right? You're going to make more money essentially because you are selling that product of gold. So you've got the potential there for increased profits, whatnot. So you want to be selling aggressively. We're not really seeing that, not from the data here. I would be expecting really strong selling to come from the market. In fact, one thing that I would that we've kind of stated before is, you know, why are we not necessarily seeing the selling that's going on to these levels back in when's that, the 14th of March 2022, you know? And look what happened to the market after that. Very big decline. We declined from sort of $2,000 down towards $1,600. So like a $400 decline there over a period of weeks and months. So why are we not seeing that level of selling when gold prices are at all-time highs? You know, makes you question it a little bit. So do I think there's a top in the gold market just yet? No. Do I think that if we got to this level of selling back in the 14th of March 2022, then yeah, I'll be considering, is that a top in the market? Because they're selling at extreme levels that they've sold at before. And we can see evidence on the COT reports here that when we did get to that level of selling, then we saw the market sell off over a period of weeks and months, right? Same with the non-commercials. You know, the non-commercials are in the market as hedge funds, traders. They're essentially trend followers. We're not seeing that aggressive level of buying which you typically see when the market's coming to an end. Okay, so I think gold price is going to move higher. You know, that's the way I'm looking at that. You know, I don't see necessarily a top in the market. You know, maybe this needs updating. I don't know when barchart.com update their prices. So, you know, I think if I go on there, it says the 1st of April. So it's not been updated since the 1st of April. So again, you have to take with a little pinch of salt. We're not using the latest data, but I can't imagine they've gone from 233,000 or minus 233,000 contracts to minus 310,000 within a week, you know? So, but that's my opinion on gold. I don't think there's necessarily a top just yet because of obviously the commitment of trader reports, definitely one of them. Seasonals as well, pretty good for gold as well. And obviously the dollar is selling off. So those are, for me, are pretty bullish signals, in my opinion. So yeah, gold looking pretty good as well. I did like the idea of being a buyer of dollar Swiss. It's not really going the way I thought it would go at the moment. I'm still looking at selling Swiss francs though. I like the idea of being a seller of Swiss francs. I actually thought about getting into a little short here today, up at this level. I didn't take the position, and I really regret it now because the market has sold off aggressively. But essentially, we're trading within this 4-hour time frame range here. The market between that sort of 0.9060 down to that 0.9013, and again, seeing how price reacts in and around this area. The weekly chart, a little bit sort of toppy at the moment, and that was my only reservation here. I thought that maybe we're going to start to see a little bit of a reversal situation. You can see there's like a potential head and shoulders forming there for a bit of downside, but I do like Swiss weakness. Obviously, we had the Swiss National Bank recently cut interest rates, and we saw the fact that that they want a weaker Swiss franc. So, I mean, if we look across the board, Aussie Swiss was one that I felt that could be fairly bullish. That has continued to rally. I was looking at longs down here yesterday, but didn't quite get that position in the end, and the market continued to trade higher there. But I do like that. The other one that I quite like was potentially Euro Swiss longs as well. Market again fairly bullish. Anything Swiss franc, I like the idea of being a seller of, just not against the yen. Maybe Kiwi Swiss would be a good one. We've got an RBNZ announcement coming up though, so yeah, I'll probably sit on my hands a little bit there. But looking at the weekly chart here, you know, this could be a big one if we were to break out of this level. You know, we've been down for a while. This is how strong the Swiss franc has been. You know, if we look at it from since 2000 and where's the sort of top, you know, back in 07, the Swiss franc has been a very, very strong currency, especially against the New Zealand dollar. So it's hurting Swiss exports at the moment. It's really hurting. So they want to see a weaker Swiss franc. So to me, that's a trading opportunity. I want to see a weaker Swiss franc. It's just finding a stronger currency to trade it against. You know, maybe CAD because of bullish dollar oil prices could be one to watch out for. Yeah, might potentially. Although daily chart bullish close yesterday. You know, typically when we do see that, I do like to look for potential longs going into the next day. Current lows around 66.49. So what you might want to look for is if price tries to take this low, is it a strong break or is it a potential move there? I don't know. We're not quite getting any divergence from the previous low. So, you know, looking at the 4-hour time frame, you know, the area there for me would be around here. So if I sync that in the layout, you can see on the 15-minute time frame that you've got this zone down there. So if price essentially comes down to this 4-hour level, is that where we start to see sort of buyers coming into place and coming into action at that point? So yeah, I like Swiss franc short. It's just, what do you trade it against? You know, the dollar at the moment's obviously selling off, so this isn't the trade at the moment. Unfortunately, this isn't the trade. I'd like to be long this market, but that's not the scenario at the moment. If we break this kind of head and shoulders, so you've got, I think if you see prices below 0.9 and you see it comfortably below there, then we're moving lower. You know, you've got 8,970 and you've got 8,900 down here as potential areas of support. That's basically from this daily chart here. So again, it's quite funny because the currency strength meter, that's not what I wanted to do. Currency strength meter, here we go. Currency strength meter was suggesting this, you know, potentially looking at that dollar Swiss play. You've got the dollar as the strongest currency, Swiss franc as the weakest currency. So essentially you want to be a buyer of this market. However, we are in clear reversal zones, and typically when we can see this type of divergence between two currencies, there can be a point where they converge towards each other and create an environment where there could be a little bit of a sort of reversal in that market. And, maybe that's what we're seeing right now from the likes of dollar Swiss. So, yeah, keep an eye on it. Have to keep an eye on it. We'll go for 40 minutes, guys. Any questions or anything like that? Obviously, we can see there's another high forming here on the 15-minute time frame. This is what I was watching earlier. I was looking to see downward trend, and this is what I talk about if you're a day trader. If I wanted to be a seller of this market, where's the most sensible place to do that in terms of risk reward? So if I look at it here on this 15-minute, obviously this is a zone of interest because the market found consolidation, but also selling pressure down to this level here. So really speaking, when price came back to that level, what I typically do is go down even lower. So we'll go to a 3-minute time frame. Let me just sync these up. Look for a change of trend again. Look for a change of those conditions. So look, the market comes into this area. What does it do? It forms that double top. I always talk about looking for that potential double top pattern. Price then breaks. So the way I'd be looking at that is short here, or what I should have done is short here, especially if you're looking at day trades and opportunities. Stop loss above the swing high plus spread. Where's your first take profit? It's down here. And that's a 1.5 to 1. Brilliant. If you're doing that once a day, every day, then great. Then you could hold on to that full target down there, and that would have been a nice sort of 3 to 1 risk reward ratio. But I missed that myself. I was actually just making some lunch at the time, so had the alert, just wasn't focused on trading at that point, waiting for the sort of US to come in there. But yeah, that's what I typically look for in terms of trading ideas. Market's rejecting the 4-hour time frame, evidently bearish on the 15-minute and moving lower. So again, where would you like to be a seller from? You'd probably like to be a seller from up here, right? Up in this area here. So if price starts to come up to that area, could be a good area to look for an opportunity, or could be a good area to take profits if you are long at that point in the market. We'll have to wait and see. Still waiting to see how price reacts down here. Let's go and have a quick look at dollar yen. Still very much range bound. Still very much between this area here, which is obviously that sort of 151 up to 152 handle. Definitely waiting for some kind of catalyst, isn't it? So what's that catalyst going to be? Hopefully it's that CPI data tomorrow. Can that be the catalyst which drives prices? I think if we see a higher inflation and inflation worries from the Fed, then I think a break of 152 could lead to something quite substantial here for dollar yen. So very much just watching. At the moment, buyers and sellers seem to be very happy trading within this minor range. So potential sell from range highs, long from range lows, maybe. That could be what's the sensible play there. Would I personally be looking to trade dollar yen at the moment? Absolutely not, because it can be a bit of a tricky market, let's just say, to trade. So yeah, I think that's all I've really looked at, really. I haven't really got anything else that I'm really looking at right now. Looking, I can see there's a bit of a breakout here on Euro Oz going on at the moment, but again, highs and lows. Where's that high? Where's that low coming? We're pretty much approaching that now, so nothing there for me. I haven't really looked too much across the charts earlier. Pound Aussie. Okay, so maybe this is what we were talking about last week on Pound Aussie. Bit of a break and retest seems to be potentially forming there. The Australian dollar's looking fairly strong at the moment. I haven't seen anything from the China data to suggest anything that's going on there, but maybe higher commodity prices would be helping support that Australian dollar at the moment. Pound yen, haven't looked at pound yen in a very long time. I think the last time we looked at it was towards the end of January. Still very bullish there, isn't it? Very, very bullish. Showing that yen weakness in the market. Yeah, Swiss yen I'm not going to touch. Not going to touch stock markets either until we get that CPI announcement. Not touch the FTSE for a while either, or, well, apart from a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, I think that's where I think if you're looking at to build a watch list at the moment, you want to be looking at your US dollar pairs. You want to be looking at Swiss franc pairs, definitely. I like the idea of that Swiss weakness. We might not see it just yet in the price action, but just keep an eye on it. And if you do see the weakness, then that might be something telling to have a little look at. Gold, silver, longs, oil longs, I like. Yeah, let's see how this inflation data goes tomorrow. Any more questions, guys? Let me know. Any other charts that you're watching as well? I mean, always interested to know what you guys are looking at. Anything you spotted that I may have missed myself? You can see natural gas prices actually fairly having a little bit of a pullback at the moment. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that palladium actually. I find that's a nice potential breakout there, isn't it? Could lead to something fairly strong if we're looking at it from a weekly point of view. You know, come back down into those 2018 lows, which is quite incredible, really. When did I really get going in the markets? It was back in 2017, so that's a while ago. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Right then, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you to everybody that joined the live stream today. Really appreciate you guys. I'd really appreciate it more if you could leave a like. I would really appreciate that. It lets me know that you're enjoying the live streams, that you want to see more of them. Just give a few shout outs to everybody that commented. Asanya Gaming, Vincent, fan as usual. Thank you. Kyle, CG, John. Thank you very much for your inputs today. Really appreciate you going out your way and watching the streams and commenting. Hopefully the info here you found useful. And yeah, if you do fancy giving it a like, I would really appreciate that. And I will catch you on Thursday. So enjoy the rest of your trading week, guys. We'll have a little look at the impact of that inflation data on Thursday. See how that's shaking up the markets, and yeah, let's see if it gives us any kind of opportunities. So thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you, and I'll speak to you soon.